We know from these sections that the Lord is urging us to hold up our light and let it shine out so that others can see and gravitate towards that light. Find the relief that we have found. The hard part is if you don't feel particularly articulate, or you're not great at capturing memories, or you hear somebody else give a testimony and then you're intimidated by the way they have done it because your spiritual experiences seem to pale in comparison, we tend to hold back. We get nervous, we wait. I think especially when it comes to the youth, I can't imagine, I can't count the number of times on a fast Sunday that I've sort of nudged a teenager, say like, look, there's nobody getting up. How about you get up there? And it's just scary and hard to get up and share your testimony in such a public platform. So I think the more we can practice in smaller settings, the better this will go. Because the promise is anytime you bear your testimony through your words or through your actions, it increases, it deepens. So we want our kids to be bearing testimony all the time, but that's kind of hard to do in a contrived way. So I created the testimony bloom balls as sort of a kickstart of sorts. There's two different ones and they come in different sizes, depending on if you're going to like send one home with kids or just use it in class. If you're going to just use it in class as sort of a kickstart, then you just want to print the big one. If you want to send one home with them, maybe make the smaller ones or have them make them in seminary or in Sunday school and they could take them home. But here's the idea behind the bloom ball. One is focused on what created testimony. So you could have them roll it almost like a die, and whichever words come to the surface, that's the question they're going to answer. So for example, if I rolled this and it landed on the yellow, it says, what has helped you to grow your testimony? So that's not quite as intimidating as saying, tell me your testimony, bear your testimonies to class. That's just answering a question. But in the answering of that question, if they talk about scripture study or doing baptisms for the dead or hearing a testimony of a grandparent that impacted their heart, whatever they say as an answer to that question is a testimony. The Spirit will be there as they testify of what is true. And the more times they pass that ball around and people roll it, the less awkward it is, right? Because nobody's showing off. They're just answering a question. So it's much less intimidating. So my thought is with these bloom balls that you could take them as a class and roll it, for maybe the first 10 minutes of class each time, or maybe every fast Sunday that you're with the people in your group, you roll the ball around a few times and let people get used to sharing little snippets of their testimony. The other one I made is this memories ball. So this one is focused more on memories that you might have that will essentially be testimony. As you share a memory, it will become a testimony because you'll speak about how you grew and what changed. That's why the theme of these have little plants all over them. So for example, if I roll it onto this red surface right here, it says, what experience has helped your testimony of Joseph Smith to grow? So then they have to think back on their life. Had they had an experience with girls' camp or EFY or a time that somebody testified something in family scripture study, or maybe a piece of their patriarchal blessing helped them understand their testimony of Joseph Smith. Whatever it is, by having a question to answer rather than just this blanket, everybody share your testimony, I think it helps us understand that testimony doesn't have to be eloquent. It doesn't have to be long. It doesn't even have to be in front of a great big group of people. Testimony are our words and our actions that draw people towards Christ so that he can reason with their hearts, just like it talks about in section 45.